in light of the new American Supreme Court Justice, a person who was nominated for the job simply because of her sex, whatever that was or is, and apparently even she doesn't know. She's just the person who'll make the laws that cover that sex that shall not be named. Anyway, things are looking a bit better over here on this side of the Atlantic, as finally Boris Johnson has actually nailed his colours to the mast and admitted that there really is a difference between men and women, and between women and so-called trans women. So today I'm going to be talking about what actually is a woman, because there seems to be some difficulty about that, especially in the Labour Party over here in the UK. And even in the BBC, by the way, and the National Health Service, which to my utter despair apparently in maternity services refers not to women or mothers, but to birthing people. And when definitions are sought, the concentration is invariably on anatomical differences, with newsreaders and interviewers referring to different parts of female genitalia on prime time television, like it wasn't only a year ago that such references would be heard only in a medical segment of Women's Hour, or was it called Woman's Hour? Anyway, and even then after a warning that some of the subject matter might not be suitable for some audiences. It's almost as if the BBC, for instance, while pretending to be on the side of reasonable sense, are using deliberately spurious arguments in order to force the discussion in one direction. That is, they're using arguments that have weak points which can be attacked. So instead of using the one incontrovertible argument that cannot be attacked, which I'll get to in a couple of minutes, it's almost as if the BBC and other media are trying not to win the argument. It's almost as if they're pretending to make an argument so that it can be discredited. So why are we, the people who do know that the BBC have become a nest of mendacious lefties so blinded by ideology that if it doesn't fit their worldview, they wouldn't recognise the truth if it reared up in front of them like the Archangel Michael and started beating them with his halo? Mind you, most of them wouldn't know an angel when they saw one anyway. Whatever. When we start talking about body parts, what we're doing is we're actually allowing ourselves, or rather we're putting ourselves into a fight on our opponent's territory. Do you realise that? The BBC, the trans lobby, a certain sort of politician, and social media companies have discovered that exploiting our insecurities about what we can or cannot say is a really useful method of social control. So let's examine what's happening here. As I said, this constant reference to body parts is actually playing the game set up by those people and using their rules. First of all, many still find such references to be embarrassing. So it wrong-foots you to start with because you're uncomfortable, and you shouldn't underestimate the power of being forced to use words that embarrass you. This reduces your ability to argue. After that, well, let's just follow the science, people. I mean, really follow the science. I mean, the real science, not the made-up stuff. It's not body parts. It's not dresses. It's not long hair or makeup. It's not pronouns. It's none of those things. There are plenty of women walking around with bits of the below-the-waist anatomy that are missing. And trans activists and their allies constantly use that to bolster up their argument. Again, wrong-footing the other side by forcing them to qualify their statements. You see, when you've got to add a qualification to a statement, it loses a lot of the punch. So, what you're saying is that a woman who's had a hysterectomy isn't a woman. Ta-da! I really got you there. Slap down, yes? The perfect put down. And I have to point out that there are men in a similar situation with corresponding missing bits. We had a neighbour, years ago, he was quite an old man when we knew him, and he got prostate cancer. And when I went to visit him after the operation, he said that they took absolutely everything, darling. He was gay. But nevertheless, that didn't turn him into a woman. Of course it didn't. Because, as I said, it's not body parts. It's not wigs, pronouns, names, or hormone injections. So, what is it? It's chromosomes. It's chromosomes, folks. I'm a woman because I have XX chromosomes. A man is a man because he has XY chromosomes. No amount of medical tinkering can change that. Your chromosomes are in every single cell of your body. It's in every creature that has a male and female, and that's the end of it. Chromosomes. It's because of those chromosomes that males and females have, in broad terms, different characteristics, both of which contribute to society and both of which are necessary, like binocular vision. I'm pretty sure that if there were only women, there'd be fewer wars. But I'm also pretty sure that if there were only women, we'd never have discovered America and we'd still be living in grass huts. Because in general, women are less adventurous, less reckless, less aggressive. On the other hand, if it were only men, then there'd be more war. Because men are more adventurous, more reckless, and more aggressive. And a male-only society would end up in so much chaos, we'd all be back in the grass huts. It's grass huts whichever way you go. You've only to look at male-dominated societies in the Middle East to see how male-dominated societies work out. Because when men live completely without female control, whatever they say about not liking it, they do become inordinately aggressive. Okay, folks, so the difference between men and women is what gave us the high-tech society that we enjoy today. It's that balance in viewpoints that's given us the inventiveness and the social structure which has formed the framework for us to create this modern world, where I can speak to you from a distance of thousands of miles, and you can make comments from a distance of thousands of miles over a lot of high-tech equipment. And it's perhaps something we should be thinking about, that the same people who want to blur the distinction between the sexes are the very ones who want to get us all back into the grass huts. It's worth considering, isn't it? All right, well, I am Graniopteryx. I am on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I let you know when I've uploaded a video on my social media platforms, which are Twitter, Gab and Parler. And on there I am at Graniopteryx. Please like this video. Yeah, share it. Support my channel if you can, and make sure your subscription is still going. All right, well, I think that's about it. Thank you very much for listening to me, and see you next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Graniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. go to www.grannyopteryx.com, and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.